Hey, thanks. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to one of my favorite topics, and that is inspiring the youth through experiential learning. It's really great that you're all here and you want to participate in this type of work, because the youth are an important part of our futures, and it's critical that we give them the skills to help them build their confidence and their self-esteem and of course, their business and life skills. So that's what we're going to cover today. And we're going to talk about this in the context of experiential learning project that you can potentially start to generate ideas for your community. Okay, so just a little bit of background about me. I've been operating a marketing agency for the last 20 years, working with Indigenous and non-Indigenous small, medium-sized businesses, helping them to build their brands. I've also had the pleasure working with Indigenous communities across BC, and including, I've been flown up to as far north in Alaska as there are human beings living, to teach Indigenous people, so both adults and youth, about business and career development. And I've even had a number of my participants win the Indigenous Business Awards. So I'm super passionate about this work and really happy to be here with you all and to be sharing ideas and experiences, because this is the other thing I wanted to point out is we all come into this room today with our own perspectives and experiences in working with the youth. So please, the more you engage, the more you're going to get out of this. So feel free if you have questions or thoughts to just add to the conversation. So I'd also like to express my appreciation for being able to live, work, and play on the beautiful unceded territories of the Tsleil-Waututh, Squamish, and Musqueam people. Just going to share my screen. Just a minute here. Hopefully everybody can see this. Thumbs up. Can everybody see the PowerPoint? Yeah? Okay, great. Thanks, Angela. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be going through today. And this is, we'll be talking about experiential learning and what that looks like from a real perspective. So I think that we all, probably a lot of us are Gen Xers or boomers, mostly Gen Xers, I'm going to guess. And if you remember what school was like back in the day, I know for me, it was kind of boring. A lot of it was mostly a lecture, and I don't learn well that way. And in fact, neither do most other human beings. So in a lot of the courses that I teach, even though experiential learning was a topic that people were really discussing, I made sure that I put a lot of interactivity and a lot of engagement and fun into the courses that I teach, because that is the way that I feel human beings learn the best. So let's talk about how we can potentially come up with some ideas that you can be able to use in your community, your youth, in giving them an experiential learning experience. We'll also talk about how to inspire them with a project that's meaningful to them, how to invite them to participate. So what does communications to them potentially look like? And it's important that we take them on a journey. We want this to be not a make-work project for them, but something that they can have fun doing, something that they're emotionally invested in, something that where they can take pride in contributing to the advancement of their community and also their culture. And let's see how we can all come up with a community project that will bridge the gap between the adults in the community and the youth and bring everybody together. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, so for about 30 minutes, I'm going to share some of my experiences, and please feel free to ask questions if you want to, based on the topics we're talking about. Also, the last 30 minutes of the session, 15 of those minutes we're going to do in breakout rooms. And we're going to have you work in teams and start to generate some ideas based on the checklist we're going to go through together. And then we'll come back, and the last 15 minutes we'll talk about the ideas that you've come up with and how you can potentially start to look at implementing them in your communities. How did that sound to everybody? Thumbs up? Excellent. And can I please ask everybody I know some people are shy, but can you please turn your cameras on? Because the more that we can see each other, and it really does raise the energy in the room. It's hard enough when we're all on, I know we're all on Zoom all the time now, and we can kind of tend to get a little zoomed out, but this is all about experiential learning. So the more we can see each other and really get a sense of who each other is, the more we're going to get out of this. And that's all of us. Okay, so that'd be great. And also, if you could please put your LinkedIn address in the chat. This is also an opportunity for all of us, not only to learn together today, but also to connect and build our own and build all of our professional networks. So I'd love to get you to join me on LinkedIn as well. And I will include my LinkedIn in the chat. It is LinkedIn, hold on. So if you just went to LinkedIn, type in Loa Fridfinnson, then you will, I will come up, because there's only, I think, one of me in all of LinkedIn. Okay, so I don't know if any of you have ever seen this particular quote by Confucius before, but I see and I forget, or I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. This is basically sums up how we as human beings learn the best. If we are just in a lecture situation where we're just seeing an instructor, they're just nattering away at us, and it's for hours at a time, we only retain about 10% of it. Whereas if we see and we write, we remember a higher percentage, up to 15%. And then if we actually start to put it into practice, we remember retain up to 90% of what we learn. So that's why it's super important that we engage our youth in an experience of learning, so that as they're doing a project that's fun, that they're enjoying, where they feel like they're contributing and their ideas are valued, then they're subconsciously also going to be learning these essential skills that are important for them going forward in life. It's really important to remember that it's the doing part that helps us all as human beings to really retain information and own it. And here's a really good video on experiential learning to give you a good overview.
Einstein said, everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. So how to capture the genius of our children? Is formal education discovering geniuses or leaving them behind? And does formal education really teach our children the skills they'll need to make it in today's world? When you think of a glass of water, the glass is the context and the water is the content. In other words, the context delivers the content. Looking at formal education through this analogy, our current education model has been proven to be ineffective both in context as well as content. In its context, the delivery system of formal education is boring and drab. Children lined up in rows of desks being lectured by one teacher in the front of the room. There's no participation, memorization, a model that has not been adapted in over 150 years for ease of access to information instantly today through things like Google and smartphones. And the content itself, most of it is unusable in the real world. Once you get past basic reading, writing, arithmetic, the subjects taught do not effectively support our children. This content rarely translates into their careers and endeavors. If the current education model worked, our kids wouldn't spend 13 years in the system emerging without a clue of how to tackle the real world. Even worse, our children are having to take on big debts for college to continue learning a mostly useless curriculum. In order to save our children, we need to break the glass of education and start doing things differently, both in context and content. There's an old Chinese proverb that says, "Tell me, I'll forget. Show me, I might remember, but involve me, I'll finally understand." What if we cast aside our current model and created a more effective model of education? Education that focuses on the experiential realm of learning, where we place our children in direct, inspiring experiences followed by focused reflections, increase useful knowledge, develop skills they can apply, clarify values that make all the difference, and develop a deep capacity of contribution. Effective education can be applied to real life with real results. This new school of thought is built on the principles of experiential learning. Unlike formal education, the context of effective education is dynamic opposed to boring, enduring instead of short-lived, and it inspires children to want to learn. And the content of effective education is built on 6 pillars that are proven to give our children the advantage but rarely focused on at school. Confidence mindset. Strong self-confidence and moral values can be developed with proper attention to help children find and fulfill life's purpose from their own personal genius and be able to handle any obstacles they face along the way. Entrepreneurial vision. Unlike broken schools trying to produce average kids in standardization, effective education encourages outside-the-box thinking, big dreams, and problem-solving skills for real-life issues. Financial empowerment. This teaches children the fundamentals of how money works and how to make smart financial decisions as part of a happy, fulfilling life. Conscious contribution. There is no better way for children to truly appreciate what they have, develop self-worth, and create gratitude than by actively helping those in need. Quality connection. The ability to have a positive connection to yourself and others is just as important as reading and arithmetic. And finally, energetic health. Unlike sedentary school settings, effective education really engages children in experiences that stress the importance of maintaining high energy through nutrition and exercise. A context for learning that is more inspiring based on content that truly delivers results. What if we focused on these new pillars of education and taught them through experience? What if children had roundtable discussions in masterminds instead of boring classroom lectures? What if parents got involved in the education process? Could these changes give our children the advantage they deserve? We think so. We are Board Meetings International. We focus on effective.
So what did everybody think of that? Did it make sense to you? Yeah. Is anybody doing any experiential learning right now? Are you doing it like even in your own teams at work, or are you doing it with the youth? Anybody? Who wants to give me an example? Rachel, yeah, hi.
We've been running breaking the business camps with youth from 9 to 12, probably for 13 years.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So every summer we bring in youth, and the goal of the whole thing is they'll actually run a business for a day and have to pay their loan back.
Oh, that is great. And what kind of outcomes have you seen?
I'm actually seeing those youth coming back in as clients to our lending.
Oh, that's amazing.
Especially during COVID, because they're you know, it's like, oh, I need to make some money, and they're coming up with some awesome ideas. So I'm really proud of them. I just get all excited. I feel old, but I get excited.
Rachel, that is so cool. I totally can relate to that too. And the business courses I teach to the youth, they are brilliant. Like if we give them an opportunity and we just give them a little bit of information and context, the stuff they come up with it's amazing. And, you know, I don't think we give the youth as much credit as they deserve in terms of their critical thinking skills and their creativity and how they can put things together. Like I'll show you all a few examples in some of our future slides, but it's mind-blowing what they can do if you give them the opportunity, and you just need to give them a bit of framework. So it's pretty cool. Thank you for sharing, Rachel. Okay, all right, so okay, so we want to definitely make sure that we're giving the youth a voice. This is what helps to bring them out and help them to feel really valued and as part of a community and that they want to be able to contribute to something bigger than themselves. And it also helps to build their confidence when they can work collaboratively with others, and they're given really strong guidance, and they're asked for their opinions and their ideas and their contributions. And if you can really hear them, I think that sometimes as adults, we don't always give the youth or the children the recognition that they deserve. A lot of times they really do have amazing ideas, but sometimes we can get to be a little bit ageist, right? Because we're all so busy in our adult life. We have so many responsibilities, and sometimes it's really easy to not really hear them. So, but when you do, when people feel, we all want to feel heard and valued. And when that happens, the type of flourishing that is the result is amazing. So if you can ask them, what they think, and ask them about a community project that they feel that they could get excited about, and really hear what's important to them. What are their values? And if you can make your product culturally relevant, that's going to go a long way in connecting them as well to their community and connecting them to their heritage. It can share stories. As human beings, we are hardwired to be engaged by stories. So if you can somehow, in your product, turn it into a story and take them on a journey through that process, then that is also going to help them be more emotionally invested in building something together with you. If you can help them to connect with their peers and work with their peers, that's going to, again, give them a sense of belonging and help them to learn how to work collaboratively with others and work teams. It also, subconsciously, they will be building real world skills in relationship development, in communication, in team building, in tapping their creativity. There's all of these incredible outcomes that they will just learn through osmosis when they're going through this process with you in building a community project that they can be a part of. And it's important too that you always let them know what to expect. So they know what the goals are for the project, and they understand what the process is going to look like. And then they also, you let them in on what the outcomes are that you're hoping for. Okay, so if you could just really make them a part of your team, is going to help them feel like they're really important and in this project that you'd like to invite them to be a part of. And also make sure that you're sharing all of the successes in the process on social media, because not only do people love to be, especially the youth, love to be recognized for their contribution, but if you can engage the community, the adults would love to see the youth participating in something they're excited about and succeeding in different areas. And it does, it increases that community spirit as well when everybody can celebrate successes together. And mentorship is really important. I always ensure that all of my youth climate, money management, and career development courses, where we touch on entrepreneurship, and I give them an exercise after giving them some business information on how to build a lean business plan, which is basically an outline of a business plan. So I give them the context, and then I invite entrepreneurial mentors in who come and volunteer time to speak to the youth about what they do and how they built their and their businesses, and also they mentor the youth. So in each of the projects that I have them do to build a business case, the mentors will help to guide them through it. And the great thing about mentorship, and I'm sure we can all probably relate to this, is when there's someone that you admire, look up to, and would like to emulate, if you're able to really have a hands-on interaction with them and build a relationship, that is quite inspiring. And then it also to think, wow, when you hear the story, hey, they came from the same place I did. They did it, and these are the steps they took. That's very possible for me too. And so it's really important to invite mentors. And it doesn't necessarily have to be all entrepreneurs. It can also be leaders in the community politically, or it could be management, from your team. So just try and see who you can pull in to help to mentor the kids, because again, it really does help to create that sense of connection, and they can now have someone that they look up to, that they can aspire to having those similar characteristics in their life and in their career. And what kind of youth community project can you put together for your youth? Would it be going to be theoretical, or is it an actual project that will be implementable? What are the youth passionate about? Ask them what types of things they're involved with. What are they excited about? What do they think about what's happening now in the community, or what do they see it for the future of the community? What do they see in the bigger society? Ask them how they're feeling. What are they seeing? How do they feel about social media and what's going on, and how they're engaging in all the various types of media? And how can you find what they're passionate about and tap their natural talent to really give them a chance to shine? Okay, by asking these real simple questions and just taking it to the youth and asking, what do they want? What do they see for themselves in their futures? It really will help you to have an understanding, put yourself in their shoes, and to generate some ideas where you can build something together with them for the community. So here's a few examples I want to give you to get the creative juices flowing for your project, because this is an experiential learning webinar. So I want to make sure everybody here has a chance to do some experimental learning. So Cando recently, I don't know if any of your youth participated, but they had a summit where they ran a contest, where the youth were invited to participate in putting together a proposal for an industrial park in the community. So there were 5 teams from 5 different nations, and the youth were basically answering a request for a proposal. So they put together a proposal and a presentation that they worked on for 4 days with mentors who rotated through the teams, and they had a budget of $10 million. Where they were asked to create an industrial park, and they'd have business of their choosing go into the industrial park. And as I said, there are mentors, so they're able to be guided throughout the process. And it's a contest, so it creates sense of competition, fun competition. And of course, we're all very much motivated by prizes. So there was a nice whopping $1,000 prize to the winning team. And each team did receive a prize all the way down to $50 for the team that came in 5th. So everybody walked away with something. And the EDOs were, so this project was marketed, this contest was marketed through all the EDOs, who then reached out to their community members, to the youth in their communities. And Cando always does surveys 6 months after the contest they run, and they find that youth who are involved in these types of in this project then later had a much more significant interest in economic development and pursuing education that would contribute to that. So when you do case studies like this, or you do contests like giving the youth an opportunity through osmosis to learn about business and to develop these essential life skills, it really does pay off. Here's another example. So you could do the industrial park idea, and also you could go the entrepreneurial route. So if you want to encourage more entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs in your community, what I have done this is one of my courses through the Squamish Nation. So as I mentioned earlier, I introduced the youth to business planning and what that looks like, all the different components that go into it. And I asked them to look around the community and think about what are they passionate about, and what is required, what is needed or wanted in the community that matches their passion. What is something that they can do that will be in by potential buyers within their community, and also the larger community, because now, let's face it, with e-commerce, you're not just limited to your own, little part of the world. You can expand that out if you created an e-commerce business. So they went into, again, similar to Cando, they were in teams of a minimum 2. So they do learn to work with a partner or 3. And they had a 1-week project timeline where they worked for a couple hours a day on their project. And then the following week, they came back and they presented. So what you're seeing here is a couple of the youth presenting on their coastal war canoe tourism business. How cool is that? Right? So it's cultural, it follows their passion in terms of they are in the canoe race teams, and they're really excited about it. And they, almost every single time that youth participate in this entrepreneurial experiential learning project, they always say after, I thought running a business was way out of it. Like, I never thought I would be able to do something like that. And now that I was exposed to it and I realized it's obviously, it takes a lot of work, but I can do it. This is something I can realistically do. So as soon as you change someone's belief system, then all of a sudden, where all these limiting beliefs that were there, it opens up a huge world of opportunity. So basically you're shining light on what they can do and helping to reframe what's possible. And so this has just been so eye-opening and so incredibly inspiring for me to see the incredible business ideas that the youth come up with. And also, so similar idea to Cando, I always give, I do recognition and awards at the end, and make sure there's a lot of images and videos to share with the community so that everybody can come together and celebrate the successes of the youth. It's pretty neat. And as a side note, also, if you do have any youth interested in entrepreneurship, or adults as well for that matter, I'm going to be doing a free webinar on November 19th on specifically Indigenous entrepreneurship, and it's a preview to the full course, which is a 9-hour course, and it will be online. So feel free to, if you're interested, you can email me. My email is going to be in the handout that you'll be receiving, and if you want to write it down too, it's Loa, L-O-A, with the @ active, spelled A-C-T-I-V, no E, number 8, nsuperink.com. So feel free to let me know if you want to register anybody from your community, and I'd be happy to do that. Okay, here's another really cool example of how you can engage the youth through music. This is a company out of Montreal who, Miriam, I saw that you joined the call. Hello. I saw your name there. I haven't seen your face, but it's nice to have you join us today. Miriam's calling in from, I think she's from Montreal as well. So this is a company that has a mobile music production studio. So they actually go into the communities and into First Nation communities, and they help to produce a music video with the kids, with the youth. And oh my gosh, like when I first heard of this group, I first saw some of the video the youth did, it's mind-blowing how good they are. Like, I love this song. I'm gonna play a little bit for you. Some of you may have heard it before, but I couldn't get enough of it, and I've still quite often. Okay, I'm just gonna do a little bit, give you a taste, because it's a long song. It's like 5 minutes long, but here it is.
It's always how we've always had. It still lives inside. This is a place where we love the land. Let's work to show our pride. us safe, keep us free, like it used to be. Don't wanna be tied down. We find love where we're from and beat against the drums. It's a beautiful sound.
From the ground up, I find the path home. Feel pulled by the sun, wish I can go. We learn from the past, now we can grow. We're promised a chance to show. Go big, go far, there are no limits. I wanna see change, so my soul lives it. They cut down the trees, while the blow kisses. Defend their home while they dismiss us.
It feels like home to me.
Okay, sorry, I'd love to let you all listen to the rest of it because it's such a good tune, but we have a very short period of time together today, and I want you guys to start to generate some ideas. So you can look it up on your own, but seriously, it's super addicting. It's such a beautiful song. And seeing all the youth come together and bring all their talents and learn all of these amazing skills, you know, in music production and songwriting and just a whole bunch of different business skills that they would learn osmosis is cool. It gives them a chance as well to really express who they are and where they come from. And as you can see, it really brings everybody together. So many of them participated. And what a cool experience for the adults too, to see this, right? It's just so heartwarming and so much pride in where they come from. But okay, so now let's think about some ideas that you could potentially do for your community. So there, you could do something like a smaller project, if not doing industrial park, which would obviously be a larger undertaking, but you could even do like a TikTok challenge. So if you went on to, I'm sure everybody here has heard of TikTok. Is anybody here a lurker? I'm a lurker. I'm not a creator. Well, I think I did too, like a cat video or something. Those of us who are Gen Xers and Boomers, it's not a first language for us. So it takes a little bit of time for us to, kind of get into the swing of it. But TikTok is essentially really short videos, but the creativity that people have is mind-blowing. Like I'm so addicted to this app. And the Indigenous youth are all over it. They love it. And they're just creating the coolest, most inspiring, culturally relevant videos. And so they're communicating with each other this way, as well as with the rest of the world. So it's really, really neat. So you could do like a TikTok challenge and, for example, invite the youth with maybe teams of 2, say, okay, like what does your culture mean to you? And do a 2-minute or a quick 1-minute TikTok video on it, and then basically with TikTok, the whole idea is the performances are all done some way to music, whether it's lip syncing or whether it's kind of transitional video from one type of outfit to another. I highly recommend you download the app and check it out. And you can look up the hashtag Indigenous Youth to get a whole bunch of ideas on what it is they're posting. So that, again, because you want to communicate with them in their language, right? So as hard as it is for us, those in this demographic to really put ourselves in kids' shoes, this is a much easier way to be able to start to really see where they're coming from. You could also do like the music production video that I showed you earlier, and bring production company in to help to create a music video in your community, which would be really cool. And you could do the small business idea. You could invite them to come up with some businesses that could potentially work in your community, or even online e-commerce businesses. Start to point them in that direction, because as we know, the digital economy is just growing in leaps and bounds. So why not introduce them and get them to learn and to participate? You just have to make sure that you've got project managers and mentors that can help guide this process. Okay. And speaking of which, if you need any extra hands, do reach out to me, because this is the space I play in. So happy to help as well. Okay, so how are the youth? How can you invite them to communicate? Well, as I mentioned, figure out what apps they're on, what social media channels are they using. Go in and start to use hashtags and poke around and see what they're posting, because that will tell you everything you know about what they're interested in and where their values are, what their struggles are. You know, they're on there. They see this again, a different. The generations are different. They bear it all. They bear it all publicly. Whereas our generation, Jensers and Boomers, are a lot more reserved when it comes to talking about ourselves and putting it out there. I'm still trying to get used to the whole put myself on video idea. This is as close so far as I've gotten to that. So find out how they're communicating with each other and what do they care about? What are they challenged by? Who can be your project ambassador? One of the fastest ways to market the courses that I've found is to find a youth in your community that is really that's gregarious and knows a lot of the other youth and is not afraid to go out and talk to people, and get him as an ambassador or her as an ambassador on your project, because peers listen to their peers. Right. So if you can get someone who's invested in the project with you, even if you have to hire them, great. They will be out there engaging the youth on your behalf, and it makes the process so much more successful. And think about all your hashtags are. So when you are going into social media, what hashtags are you using? You can find out even by asking them and figure what channels or what apps they're using. Go in, check out those hashtags and see what they're posting and see what the conversation is like. And then that you can start to figure out what are the best hashtags to use, and utilize multiple outreach efforts. So for the youth, obviously, if you have the younger generation, they're going to be definitely on TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram. The older youth will likely still be on Facebook and TikTok. TikTok's the fastest growing social media app right now, so definitely recommend you do something there, and try and be as cool as possible. I mean, even if you want to make fun of being, not being their age. I mean, you could do something hilarious, like where the difference is between, the Gen Xers or the Boomers and the millennials or the Gen Zs. So you could just play with it, have fun with it. And here's some examples of what the youth have and how they're inviting other youth to participate in their programs. Here's one here.
So you want to know what We Matter is all about? Let me show you.
Okay, and then the other one.
Please share. At the NBGK, we are accepting applications from students in grades 9 and 10 for our Indigenous Youth Summer Mentorship.
Okay, so really quick video gets the message across, and that's what it's all about these days, is really quick bite-sized pieces of media. Because our brains are so inundated with so much information, we do in bite-sized chunks of mixed media, it really gets attention. And if you want, some of the YouTube even help you put together these marketing pieces, right? Help to engage them and even do that process with you.
Please share.
Okay, so your project checklist now, and we're going to put you into breakout rooms for it's probably going to be more like 10 minutes now instead of 15, because we've only got 20 minutes left. It goes by so fast. Your checklist is available. Hopefully, Beth, can you put it in the chat for everybody? And then everybody's going to move into breakout rooms and going to cover your project goals, what age of youth you're going to be targeting. So are they generally, I would recommend no younger than 16 for this type of project, because that's 15, 16 is when their critical thinking skills, their brain's fully developed in that area. The younger youth may not be super interested in this type of thing. The older ones, as they're starting to consider, sort of what's out there in the real world, this will be more tangible to them. Think about your project manager. Who's going to spearhead this thing? Somebody's got to be really committed and engaged to engaging the youth and and really, spearheading this and bringing the volunteers and the mentors and the sponsors and the donors. What's your timeline going to be? Is it going to be a shorter contest within 1 to 2 weeks, or is it going to be a bigger industrial project, which could be a month-long contest you give them to work on it? What kind of contest or what kind of prizes can you offer? That will, and maybe you can get donations from some of the businesses in your community that can donate prizes. How are you going to communicate with the youth, as well as your mentors, sponsors, and the rest of the community? Obviously, social media will be a big one, but you also need to consider real world communication. Can you posters in places where the community congregates? Do you have a youth group where you can have a counselor talk to them about getting involved in this type of process? Do you have an email list that goes out to all of the community members? Do you have a newsletter? About all the different areas and ways that you can invite them to participate, as well as ask for sponsors and mentors and owners. Okay, and then think about your logistics and reporting. Kind of where are you all going to meet? How are you going to, do the children need rides or the youth need rides? About the logistics. Do they need computers? Do they need access to different types of a business environment? So think about the logistics and how you're going to report. It's really important that you are monitoring the process as you go through, so that you can then report on what it was like towards the end, and you can do fine tuning for next time. And then you want to invite testimonials from youth as well as from the community. Get people's feedback, because that is, again, how you're going to continue to be able to evolve this type of process and make it even better next time. And to if pictures and videos and you really showcase this project, then future generations that are going to be coming of age, they also see the incredible engagement projects you're doing with the youth, and they anticipate getting involved too. Okay, let's put you in breakout rooms, and we'll give you let's say about 5 minutes. So it's going to be quick and dirty idea generation. But I'm sure you guys have been thinking about some ideas as we've been going through these notes. So let's come back after a few minutes and see what kind of ideas you have. So maybe pick one of your communities and talk a little bit about the size. Like, is it small? Is it large? If it's a small community, maybe you'll do something that's more like the maybe a TikTok challenge. If it's a larger community, maybe an industrial park makes a lot of sense. So think about what the community needs are and what your kids are interested in. What are youth doing? What are they interested in? Is it sports? Is it music? How can you engage them in some sort of a project that also has business elements to it? Okay, so you do have your checklist that hopefully Beth is going to put in the chat. Is it there? Beth, are you still there? Oh, there it is. Yes. Thank you, Beth. Okay, so it's in the chat under Elizabeth's name. It says 1 second is a bit.ly link that has the chat. Okay, and she is going to, Beth, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. Would you mind putting everybody in breakout rooms?
I can hear you.
Oh, I just yattered away. Not even realizing I'm on mute. Okay, so can you two just talk amongst yourselves, generate some new flashy marketing ideas, and I will be back either in the full room or I'll pop back into the individual breakout rooms, but I think we're all supposed to come back soon. So
Okay.
yeah, just hold 1 or 2 more minutes.
Angela, I went to school with a man named Dan from Malahat.
Oh, Dan Pasman?
Dan Pasman. He went to UBC.
And he's our IT and communications guy. I don't know if that would be.
No, I don't. Dan, he had curly hair, very curly, thick curls. And
okay, no, that's not Pasman.
No.
Anyway, do you know what he does? Like, what does he do? Because at Malahat's about 80 staff.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I'm only 3 months in, so I know maybe 20. It's so bad. I know.
Okay, then it was last year. We took a course together. So
oh yeah.
Yeah, we took the AMP course, the Chinook AMP course together. So yeah, I can't remember his last name now. He's probably on my LinkedIn account.
Yeah.
So ideas for marketing. I just wrote down some quick ones. So exchange the newsletter. And then
Hello, I'm sorry, I got logged out, but I'm back. Were you able to come up with some ideas for your
Instagram and Twitter, and then job boards for I'm thinking at universities or at the schools or high school or something like that.
Okay, good.
And then like Angela said, have youth on the marketing team, so that could help.
Yes, absolutely. And think about too who you can get as resources to help you build the project out and donate prizes and come in as mentors, because those pieces are all really important too.
Oh, prizes,
and and who you can get to volunteer on the project, like maybe some elders or some leaders in your community that would like to participate. Think about all the resources, because this will take some organizing and some commitment as well, because you want to definitely, if you start a project like this, you want to see it through. It's really important that the know that this is what the process is going to look like and that it follows through. Okay, thanks, Angela and Chastity. You did a great job on talking about your project, and I'm guessing you said a few words about yours, did you?
Sorry, me?
Yes. Did you share? I was logged out for
No, everybody just came back. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
so
great.
I can do that now very quickly if you want me to. We were thinking of a Shark Tank style competition where members of youth come to us and kind of promote the high level ideas that they have. And from there, they would be shortlisted. Then they would work with an EDO to further develop a business plan and understand what's involved in that process. And then the winner could be given a prize to be able to actually start their business.
Love it. Love it. So this has already been mulling around in with you and the rest of your team then, and considering something like this together.
Well, I just thought of it today as we were talking, so not really.
Oh, awesome. There you go. Good. Well, now you have something to take back
now
to
I have something. Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Angela. And who else? Rachel, have you got some ideas based on what you saw today?
We have a community plan that was done, and so I would like to challenge the youth to take something from the community plan and implement it.
Nice. That sounds amazing. Now you might have to, or I suggest putting some framing it, putting some format around it, like making it into a contest and really letting know what the goals are and what the outcomes are and what they could potentially get out of it. So again, it's that emotional investment, right? And especially community, having a voice in what goes on in the community.
Well, what an example I gave was about 6 years ago. I helped a group of, they were all 16, 17-year-old high school students. I think there was 7 of them.
Yeah.
They built their own skate park in the community. We raised $250,000 in 1 year, and
Wow.
they took total ownership. To this day, it's their skate park. Like, the community asked them for their input and stuff like that. So I kind of want to take, like, look at the community plan. Like you just said, look at the social media. What are they talking about? What can they change? If there's something in there, then reach out. Who wants to do that? You know what I mean? So they're taking ownership of a chunk of that community plan or something in that community plan.
Absolutely.
Like, how the idea came was, the initial idea was, my son was sitting around after I took him to a skate park, and they were sitting around and they were bad-mouthing band council that, you know, they'll never do this for us. They just shoved us, because they did have a skate park, but it was like off the beaten trail kind of thing, and it was crap. They just did drugs and stuff there. They hit them. They didn't want to be seen. So I just came up and said, well, why don't you just get off your ass and do something about it then? And next thing you know, they're coming back with pictures of the skate park, and we got the land.
I love it. See, right, that is a prime example of how to get them emotionally invested in something that they're passionate about. So you did such a good job of aligning their passions with a project that they could build and have say in and take ownership of.
Yeah.
So, way to go. That's a great example. Thank you. Thank you for
You're
sharing
welcome.
that.
So anybody wants to check it out, it's on Facebook at Project Skate Park 6 Nations.
Project Skate Park. Okay, fantastic. Anybody else want to share? Who else has some ideas? Mona, do you have some ideas?
Sorry. Yeah, one of the things we're planning to do is like a trades career information session where we'll be inviting employers and institutional or guest speakers. So I'm thinking that because we have 18 nations surrounding our area, we will need some input from the youth in those areas to find out from them what are the barriers, because for me it'd be easy because we live in an urban area. We have access to put individuals in employment positions, but when it comes from the communities, what do the youth see as a barrier in getting an apprenticeship position? So somehow to get their input and as to what they see as a barrier living in the community, it would be a good idea to figure out how to get that with our Zoom session.
Oh, a great idea, Mona. That's excellent. And have you got potentially like a youth council where you could get all the youth from all communities together and have, you know, so you can get constant feedback and a pulse on what all the communities are, how they're all feeling?
Well, each band does have council.
Has its own.
Yeah. So I'll have to find out if they have actually a youth council. I'm not quite sure about that.
Yeah. Well, I love it. That's such a great idea. And that's definitely something to build on. So take it and run with it and get the, use some of the tips that I gave and examples that I presented today. And you'll get this, you'll all get the PDF so that you can, hopefully it will ignite some more idea generation. And I'm really happy that you're all able to be here with me today. I know we went a little bit over. It's really tough all that information in an hour. But thank you all so much for participating. And please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd love to follow you all and see how you're doing with your projects. And if you need extra help, just let me know.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day, everyone. Okay, thanks. Bye. Bye, Chastity.
Bye, thank you.
Welcome.